What's going on, fighters? This is Wolfpack,
This is Shamaro.
and a new fighter has joined the fray. Please welcome Pharaoh.
Hey everybody, I guess I'm Pharaoh and all that. Nice to be on the podcast. I mean, I'm only new-ish to fighting games and all, other than Smash Brothers. But I'm excited. I really am. It's first time on a podcast.
Hey, we're
Cool.
we're glad to have you, buddy.
So,
Glad to be here.
So guys, Pharaoh, as he said, he is new. He's a pretty big newbie to the fighting game scene. So we've kind of inducted him into our group, and we're going to teach him the ways of fighting games. And so, due to scheduling, he will kind of be off and on to the podcast. So every so often you'll hear him, and we'll kind of teach him what we know about fighting games. And I'm sure sometime down the line he'll be side by side with us.
Absolutely,
One day.
Yep.
Yes.
We're all very much looking forward to the day when all three forces unite and we can all be here together. But things happen, so you gotta respect that some people will not be around all the time. So, with that in mind, hopefully you will all welcome Pharaoh just as well as you welcomed myself and Shamaro. And yeah, good times are ahead, man. Good times are ahead.
And on that note, let's welcome you to the official start of Season 1, Episode 1 of
True North Fighters, baby. Season 1. I cannot believe we are actually here.
Yes, K9C is officially taking off, and we are starting the podcast proper. If you were one of the few that tuned into our earlier episodes in 2023, that was Season 0. That was our pilot season, just to get us off the ground. And now this is the official start of the TNF podcast.
Yep, and boy oh boy, do we have quite the amount of content for you guys today. Let's go through our list of announcements. First off, we offer our most humble and sincere apologies about the mix-up for the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tournament.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. We got some sources, third-party sources, that said that DBF tournament was going to happen 1st of January to be like the World Finals or whatever. Nothing was going on there. We obviously got a faulty source, and we will be sure to check the official sources from now on to make sure that we are on the ball there. On that note, though, we have gotten confirmation that the Capcom Cup X for the Street Fighter 6 World Tournament, the first Street Fighter 6 World Tournament, is going to be happening throughout the latter half of February. So we shall be covering that in the February podcast episodes, and we'll be keeping up as best we can to give you guys all that juicy info.
Yep, it is going to be a week-long event from February 16th to the 25th. And Capcom will be crowning the very first Street Fighter 6 World Champion. That is going to be absolutely remarkable to watch, and a big reminder about the future of True North Fighters, our YouTube channel. We are aiming for a drop at the end of January, so that means it will be happening right after Tekken 8 gets its worldwide release. So be sure to watch out for that. And once it's online, well, that's when the real fun begins.
Yes, and on that note, guys, again, our schedules are still trying to work their way into the cohesive puzzle that it needs to be to make consistent episodes work. So we will start with that Tekken 8 episode, and then we will try to be consistent, like on a week-by-week or every 2-week basis. So please be patient with us as we figure out our broadcast schedule.
Yep.
Going after that.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just about to say, and I apologize for cutting you off there. Okay, you know what? We're just going to leave that in there because now it's just gone from my head. Jesus.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so on that note, we have our few rapid punch headlines for this episode. So, first off, for those of you who were looking forward to the release of Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising back in December, we have an even greater piece of news. We have our first guest character coming to the game, and it is going to be 2B from Nier Automata.
Holy smokes, I cannot believe that 2B is returning to the fighting game scene. The last time we saw her was in Soul Calibur 6, so I am very curious to see how her moveset differs in Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising as compared to when she was in Soul Calibur 6. And speaking of Soul Calibur...
Sorry.
No, it's okay. My apologies. I was about to say, speaking of Soul Calibur Broken Destiny is now available to play on PlayStation 4 and on PlayStation 5. So for those of you that have been wanting another Soul Calibur game, or perhaps wanted to get Soul Calibur 6 but is too expensive and you want a different option for a Soul Calibur game, Broken Destiny is the one to look for.
And then our last headline, we have an update on DNF Duel. The Battle Mage character is now available. I've got my hands on her with the season pass, and she looks absolutely amazing. Wolf Pharaoh, I have looked at her. I have played her a little bit in the practice mode, and she is a spectacular zoner with very mid-range attacks, and then she has magic balls that she can hurl at you from a distance. So, a lot of fun. It's gonna be an awesome time when I finally get you guys playing that game.
Honestly, I'm hooked, man. I've been hooked since you introduced me to DNF Duel. At least, just visually introduced me to it. But now that the Battle Mage is officially available... Yeah. Now that the Battle Mage is officially available, man, oh man, we're gonna have to strap ourselves in for a roller coaster ride, man. This is gonna be good.
And with that, our quick headlines are done, and we get into the meaty news, the actual news stories. So, first off, Street Fighter 6. Capcom recently put out on their social media channels that Akuma is going to be added into the roster, and they gave him a sneak peek of a new look.
Honestly, it's an interesting look. I'm using the word interesting here because there's a lot to dissect from the way Akuma looks here. For one, I love the full black outfit. The ropes around his fists and his wrists. I mean, it's cool and everything, but when you think about it in real life, man, is that gonna hurt. That's gonna give you some serious rope burn, dude.
Very true, but that whole look and his new odd choice in hair color kind of reminds you something of his brother.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. I see where you're going with this.
So I think, I don't know what's been happening in the story recently with Street Fighter, but I think he might be taking on some aspects of his brother now. Sure, it's been a long time since he killed him, but I think some full circleness is happening there.
Yeah, quite possibly. We'll have to see just how he's integrated into the World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6, as we saw with Aki earlier on. As it turns out, she's actually a disciple of Fang, one of the new characters that was introduced back in Street Fighter 5. So that's going to be interesting to see. But the thing that sticks out to me the most, that is just sticking out like a sore thumb, is it's the beard. It's the beard for me.
It's definitely the beard. It's definitely the beard, Wolf. We're used to seeing Akuma clean shaven, and sure, he has a wild hairstyle, but we've never seen that in a beard form. And admittedly, I'm okay with the style. It's just the color isn't really speaking to me, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. The color is fine for the hair, because Akuma's always had a crazy hairstyle. But the color, it just, I don't really think it works that well in terms of substituting that color for something else. I'm not really sure what I would pick, but it's just, it just seems so weird, especially considering the fact that, as you mentioned, we've always seen Akuma being a clean-shaven individual. So, I'm not really sure who came up with this, but I'm sure that it could possibly grow on us over time. I don't know.
It could.
But like that aside, I think a positive that we can take away from this is the contrast, because I don't know if you would call the color of that like cream maybe, but like it gives off a nice contrast to his outfit, because obviously black and white, right?
Yeah,
So
that's fair. Although I kind like when I look at him, I kind of see more beige than white. But it can still it still gives good contrast. I'm just not sure if that's the right way to go. Honestly, I think if you were ever gonna go for a color that fit Akuma's hairstyle, like if you were trying to age him up a little bit, I would say sure, go for a whitening, but do kind of, I know this might be weird on Akuma, but given that he had like that he's a ginger, give him like pink hair or something for his aged up version.
yeah, or at least like a pale pinkish, maybe something like that. Because I mean, if we're gonna go with pink, we need to make sure that it's not vibrant or anything,
Yeah,
so that he's not
like
copying poison or anything.
yeah,
But
obviously not. But like either just like a very subtle pink or like a magenta or just really anything that kind of just harkens back to his original hair color.
yeah, but overall though, like I think outfit wise, I think this is probably the best that Akuma has ever looked. Actually.
Oh yeah, the outfit's solid. I will give you that. The outfit is definitely solid. It's just that mess of a hair that we need to figure out, I think.
Yeah, the hair is freaking weird. But yeah, like a lot of people have been, giving their thoughts all over social media, Instagram, Twitter. I know it's called X now, but I still call it Twitter because that's what it is.
Long live the
And
bird.
yes, and people have also been saying it on Reddit as well, specific in the not exactly in the video game subreddit, but in the official Street Fighter subreddit. I've seen a bunch of people making comments where, people are like, this isn't Akuma's best look, or like, Capcom could have done a lot better. I guess that overall it's just, subjective, depending on the person you talk to, right?
Yeah, and then again, that's what palette swaps are for, honestly.
There you go. And I'm sure that once Akuma releases later on this year, because I know that we're getting Ed first, which will probably be within the first half of this year. So I would probably say, I don't remember specifically when they're releasing Ed, but I would want to say maybe between April and June, I would assume is when they would release Ed. And then as far as Akuma goes,
probably the
probably,
fall, I'd say.
yeah, very likely the fall. And in terms of palettes and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure that once he's released, his second costume will obviously be a throwback, as we have seen with many of the existing characters coming into Street Fighter 6. So fear not, for those who don't necessarily like this new look on Akuma, at least we'll have his secondary costume to, atone for that.
Indeed. So, moving on from fashion choices, we're getting into some new character trailers with the recent stuff from Tekken 8. Bandai Namco, as per usual, throughout the last month and a half, has been releasing these character trailers each week. And these past 2 weeks, we've gotten the Shaheen and Kuma trailers. So, Wolf,
Yes.
what were your impressions of these trailers?
Well, first off, Shaheen, I was never really that big on Shaheen. Like, he's still relatively new because he debuted in Tekken 7, but, I can see he's improved a little bit, in Tekken 8 as opposed to Tekken 7. So I've not really much to say there, I guess.
But hang on. Is it just his look or his fighting style? Because I know he's a footsie character.
I think it's more of, I think it's more of his moveset actually.
Really?
He appear in terms of like his appearance and stuff like that, like that's fine. He actually kind of looks cool in Tekken 8, but I think it's just more of his play style because as you mentioned, he's a footsie character and sometimes footsie characters can be some of the hardest characters to master. So,
True, but you gotta admit, most of the time, all we get from fighting games are zoners, rushdowns, and grapplers. We don't see
true.
a lot of footsie characters. I think the last major footsie character we ever saw was what's her name? The blonde girl from Street Fighter Five.
Crap, what's her name?
Blonde hair, red dress.
Blonde hair, red dress. Hang on.
Her name escapes
Crap.
me right now, but
Yeah, can't figure that one out. But yeah, like
she was a footsie character, and I think the footsie character archetype is widely underused. And I think Shaheen could be the bridge that brings more fighting games into bringing more footsie characters in because they are actually a viable choice for a fighting game archetype. And I think if developers just gave the players more choice in that, I think we could see a little bit of a rise in that player base.
And you know what? I completely agree with you that the reason why I have such limited things to say is because I never ever actually played Shaheen in Tekken 7. So something tells me that Shaheen could quite possibly be a dark horse character for me. He might be one of those characters that surprises me when I actually, start playing him. Kind of like in Mortal Kombat 1, where I was surprised by the way Rain and Baraka play in Mortal Kombat 1. So, like, the game still doesn't come out for another few weeks or so. So when it does come out, I think quite likely Shaheen is going to be one of the first characters I'll experiment with.
Nice. Okay, so we'll try him and a bunch of the others out that we haven't played as before, and we'll see what happens. On that note, Kuma. Oh my gosh, that bear is freaking insane. Like
The big bear
for
boy
those
is
of you-
back.
Yeah, for those of you listening who haven't seen the trailer yet, Kuma literally proposes to Panda and then slaps her with a fish, which then turns into a missile, which becomes his rage art. Oh my god! Like what the hell? Like Kuma used to be like a wholesome character. Like he was the only wholesome life of Mishima's real story arc, and like all they really did was play harmless pranks on each other. And now this guy is just slapping girls with fish. Like, what is this? Wolf, what am I looking at here? Seriously, like what have they done to our big bear boy?
Honestly, I don't know, but what I took away from this, and it ties in with his appearance, he's basically wearing Heihachi's iconic attire. Now, we know that Heihachi loves to cheat death. He goes to the extreme for crying out loud. And given the fact that Kazuya tossed him into a volcano at the end of Tekken 7, who knows if Heihachi is coming back. But because Kuma has been so close with Heihachi in the past, maybe, just maybe, this is Kuma looking for maybe some sort of redemption on behalf of Heihachi. Who knows? But
Oh, jeez. But for all we know, maybe he actually put his consciousness within Kuma.
that's a good point. I never even actually thought about that
just thought
before.
of that, and now that thought terrifies me.
Oh boy. You know what? Maybe that's why he decided to slap Panda with a fish. Maybe
Who
that's
knows?
why.
Who knows? Like, we'll just have to wait and see when the story and arcade modes come out.
Yes, but for the most part, Kuma looks absolutely incredible. Honestly, I think Kuma has always looked incredible.
True.
But this is the best that we've ever seen Kuma. So I am very excited to see how Kuma shapes up against, other characters, especially Kazuya and Jin. It is going to be incredible to see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And with that, Let's move on to some more indie fighting news. So, for those of you who may have followed the game, Them's Fightin' Herds, it's currently available on Steam and Nintendo Switch and I think PlayStation. So for those of you who've been following this 7-year long fighting game, it is going into its final major update. Which after this, the devs say that they're going to stop active development. This is what they've said from their Steam from their Steam page updates. So, we've gotten the season 1 pass with Stronghoof and Texas, and now we're going to get our last 2 fighters, which I haven't really looked into them that much, Wolf, but I think one of them is an anteater. And then the other one is another dragon lizard that's similar to Tien Hao, who is currently the main Rushdown character in the game.
Interesting. So two things here. First off, for those of you who are getting a little confused, at the time of recording, it is January 7th. I believe it says here in our notes that the update happened on the 2nd. So,
yes.
So pretty much the final update is already out. And second thing, an anteater? An anteater? Did I hear that right?
I mean, her name is escaping me right now, but yeah, that character, she has like a long snout, and she just screams anteater to me. So
okay, so maybe it is an anteater then. Yeah, maybe.
but she's basically going to be a 3-stance fighter character. So, and then apparently she also has like an awakened state. So I think she's going to be a fun character to mess around with. And then the last character, the other dragon lizard character, she's going to also be kind of not a rushdown character. She's going to have some similar moves to Tien Hao, but she's going to be more focused on zoning, I think. Is what they said in their update.
Unreal, man. And just, wow. I only just learned about this game, by the way, just a few days ago. When we met up for our planning session earlier on last week, he introduced me to this game. And you know what? I think I might actually consider picking this up.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know about Them's Fightin' Herds, it's an indie game that was inspired by a fan-made game, and it got so popular that a creator from the show that it's originally based on came in and helped them get Them's Fightin' Herds started, and also one of the guys from Lab Zero who worked on Skullgirls, he basically gave the devs of this game the Skullgirls engine. So if you go on to Steam and it looks like it flows a lot like Skullgirls, that's because it's working on the same engine. So I think people are missing out if they're not looking at this. If they're turned off by the more cutesy art style, I think that's just a bad excuse to check out this amazing game, which just has incredible mechanics. Every fighter is very unique in their fighting style. Even if you're looking between the big body characters, the rushdown characters, the zoners, everyone brings something new to the table. So I think it's a great game that everyone should pick up. And Wolf, I am looking forward to when you pick this up and when we can face off. I am definitely going to be rushing you down with Shanti.
Well, at least give me a chance to familiarize myself with the controls first.
Actually, Wolf, on a side note, I've always wondered, what archetype do you usually gravitate to? Are you a zoner, rushdown, grappler, footsie character?
Oh, man. Honestly, it's funny that you ask that because I don't even really think about that all that much. When I start up a fighting game, I just go with the first character that, usually comes to mind when I play these kinds of things. So, let's say, let's use Mortal Kombat as an example because I play a lot of that.
Right, because you're basically the aficionado on this in this group for Mortal Kombat. So
pretty much.
Based on those characters, who do you gravitate to more?
I've noticed since starting to play Mortal Kombat 1 and across all the games, all the Mortal Kombat games that I played, the three characters I gravitate towards the most are Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden. Those are the three that I commonly gravitate towards in all of those games. Now,
I might be wrong about this, but I would classify all three of those guys as zoners. So you might be the zoner of the group.
quite possibly. I mean, every character has a little bit of a zoner in them. Because, Scorpion, I think you could technically classify Scorpion as a bit of a mix-up character, because not only is he good at being a zoner, but he's also got some really good close-range moves as well.
True.
And I could probably say the same thing about Sub-Zero, although he would be leaning more towards the zoner side. And as for Raiden, yeah, you could probably classify him as a zoner, absolutely. Although it's ironic because I haven't exactly mastered the zoning part. But yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay, so we might classify you as more of a zoner for now, but I think maybe once you get into the nitty-gritties of the technical stuff of fighting games, you might switch over to a different archetype. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Or you might be a jack of all trades. Who knows? So
good point.
Maybe this game will be. Yeah, so maybe them as fighting herds will open you up to discovering what your archetype specialty is.
Oh, probably. I don't doubt it.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So moving on from an old indie game to a up and coming indie fighter. So we have a new platform fighter in the works. Called Combo Devils. Now, I've subscribed to their YouTube channel. I've been looking at what they have so far, and Wolf, this is an interesting mix of a game. It's not going to come out until late this year, early next year, but it's already got several some people in the fighting game community looking at this. Like, I've seen some other YouTube channels that have been looking at up and coming indie games, and they all seem to gravitate towards this one when it comes to platform fighters. It's an interesting choice. So far, they only have 3 fighters showing up now, and this is a game that's in the pre-alpha testing phase.
Wow!
But it already looks like a really interesting mix between a platform fighter like Smash Bros. And a more technical fighter like Street Fighter. That's a lot of what people are comparing it to right now, both in the official channels and in the other people on YouTube who are covering this. It is a lot like Smash Bros. Meets Street Fighter, meets some other small inspirations mixed in there, because there is the platform fighting aspect where you can get knocked off the stage once you get up to a certain percentage. But then I think a lot of the combat I've found is very much ground based. Now, granted, again, this is a very limited roster at the time.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen. All the stadiums are all the locations are kind of small, and I think they're made to kind of make fighters either do a lot of edge guarding or just do fisticuffs and footsies on the ground.
And you know what? It sounds very much it sounds so much like a super interesting game. Platform fighters, holy cow, dude! Smash Bros. Meets Street Fighter, honestly, that just sounds like the perfect recipe for a really freaking badass game. Now, again,
yeah.
like you said, very limited roster. It's in play testing and stuff like that right now. But yeah, I've taken a look at a little bit of stuff regarding Combo Devils, and it looks fantastic. It really does.
It does, and apparently in both the trailer and in the developer announcements, they've also said that there is going to be a co-op campaign multiplayer. So for those of you who want some Smash Bros. Melee or some Subspace Emissary vibes from Platform Fighter again, this could be your cup of tea.
Oh, dude, now I know I'm gonna be hooked on this, because I mean, come on, a co-op campaign? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Name me how many different games offer something like that, right? That's one of the most unique things that you could possibly do. So
yep, as far as I know, Smash Bros. Is the one that really did that in full force. So
exactly,
yeah,
and speaking from experience, having played Subspace Emissary in Brawl, like, dude, I've missed that kind of stuff, man. I have missed that. So I'm very excited to see how Combo Devils works on that. And, there's just so much to look forward to with this game, considering that it still has a long way to go before it releases.
Yep, but we will be following the YouTube channel for Combo Devils, and we will keep you guys updated as we get more big announcements on this game.
Oh yeah.
Moving on, going into another indie game that is currently in development, but is a lot further along. It's an interesting topic here. Like, Wolf, I think everyone can agree that aside from like story and arcade modes, fighting games aren't really made for single players.
This is correct. Very correct.
Yes, but there is this new indie game that's currently in development. It's in early access on Steam right now, but apparently the devs this past year have been updating it like every month with new content. It's called Spiritfall. Now, this game, from what I've played so far, like I've been able to get to like the second area so far, and it seems to be an interesting combination of Dead Cells with its weapon mechanics and its blessings and like all the different buffs you can get. It seems like Dead Cells in the sense like even the characters look like very similar. Like the Owen Forge from Spiritfall looks a lot like the prisoner from Dead Cells. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely gives me very Dead Cell vibes from that and the visuals. But here's the thing: the combat focuses a lot like a platform fighter indicative of Smash Bros. Now, and even like I have found like there are some levels so you progress through an area and there are different rooms you have to face and kill off a certain number of enemies in waves, but every so often a hidden rift will show up, and in that you basically win by beating the enemy off the platform 3 times in a certain amount of time before I can escape, and avoiding a one-hit kill yourself. So it's definitely got some very Smash Bros. Vibes, and I think, and also the level progression kind of reminds me of like Slay the Spire a little bit. Not sure if you played that game before, but that's a good time too. So there's a lot of good elements that I think are mixing in here, and I think it could be a launching point for other games to take a single-player fighting game genre to like bring that into existence.
Absolutely, and I said it a few moments before with Combo Devils about how they're incorporating a co-op campaign mode. Like again, name me any sort of fighting games that are solely like single player based. You can't, because
and
there's
a roguelike. Like,
exactly.
Like,
there's not anything like that, or to my understanding, there's not anything like that out there. So really, Spiritfall is absolutely going to be a trailblazer for that subgenre of fighting games. And I mean, man, if I wasn't hooked on this before, I am absolutely hooked on this now. Pardon me for using that word a lot. It's just the first word that comes to mind when I think of stuff like this. But yeah, Spiritfall looks to be extremely promising. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
So if you or any listeners want to get Spiritfall while it's still relatively affordable, definitely get it now while it's still in early access. It's going to be coming out sometime this year in full, and the price is going to probably climb up a little bit after that happens. So if you haven't already, this is a great game. It's still updating, so get it now while you can for a good price.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, leading into our final story, another indie game, but this time, Wolf, you actually beat me to this one.
So yes, I did.
So how about you tell us a little bit about this new game you found called Diesel Legacy, which is currently in playtesting?
Yes, so as Shamro just stated, yes, I beat him to the punch on finding news about a new indie game. Thank God, I actually feel so happy about this. This is like a crowning achievement for me.
You should be proud. You should be proud that you actually beat me to the punch with an indie game, because that's usually my turf.
Oh yeah. So before I get carried away, let's jump into this. So Diesel Legacy, The Brazen Age. Oh man, this game looks incredible. It is being developed by Modus Games. It is currently in playtest mode right now on Steam. I believe the playtest began in around the tail end of December. I think it was around December 23rd. And not too long ago, Modus put out an update saying that they have extended the playtest to January 17th. So it's pretty much a 2v2, it's a 2v2 fighter, an arena brawler, so to speak. It's got
in a very interesting style, because as we saw in the trailer, Wolf, it's not your typical 3D arena brawler. It's actually a 2D beat-em-up style brawler.
Damn right. So if you think of games like kind of like Golden Axe or Streets of Rage, think of it like that, but give it a steampunk feel and make it 2-on-2. That's pretty much what this game is.
Like this game gave me serious like BioShock Infinite vibes. Like just the setting of the steampunk meets like old Prohibition era style characters. It looks amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Now, granted, I think there's about 4 characters right now that you can choose from. Given that the game is still in its playtest mode right now, which I guess you could probably classify that as early access in a way, or at the very least like beta or alpha testing. But
Definitely.
from what we've seen in the trailer, holy cow, this game looks incredible. And here's the kicker. It's actually coming out, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's coming out sometime later this year. So I'm really excited about this. I don't necessarily remember if this is going to be a game that you can get for free or if you have to shell out some cash for it.
I'm sure they're gonna make us pay at least something for this, because this looks like a damn good game, and you always want to fund the good games.
This is true, and I mean, like I'm tripping over my words here. The price tag is probably going to be not too bad either.
Yeah, I mean, like for just like your one-off indie Steam game, I can see this being like maybe $22-$25 around that, maybe 30 if they really want to push it, but I don't think they're going to go that high. But yeah, I don't think it'll be that expensive. But for those of you who do play on Macs, as a Mac user myself, I will unfortunately have to give you the bad news. It's currently just for PC. So Wolf is currently on the playtesting list. I am not, unfortunately. So he's going to be giving us all the updates on this game as we go through 2024.
Yes, and I am praying to the gods above that we actually do get an update for this game that allows people to play on Mac, because I feel so bad for Shamaro right now, because he plays the majority of his games on Mac, and it's just like he's gonna be missing out on a lot of kick-ass stuff in this game. So I am praying hard. I will continue to pray for as long as I can that there will be an update where it'll actually be available for Mac users. So unfortunately,
hopefully, because if it's not if it's an indie game, I can't play it on Steam on Mac. Then I just have to hope that it comes out for the Switch, which is all really I have for consoles. So
yeah, and I mean that also raises another question too. Do you think that there is a possibility that the game could get a console port as well?
Totally. I think this game has a lot of potential to grab a lot of people's attention. Like we've had indie fighters that have gotten people's attention before and have gotten at least somewhat big. Like Them is Fighting Herds is one that comes to mind. It's got tournaments right now, and then that other major one, Night Inverse. That's a huge indie game that. Honestly, when I first saw it, I thought it was actually a AAA game, but no, apparently it's by a small indie Japanese studio. So
there you go.
There's proof there that there is definitely a chance that indie fighters could get big. I think for the fact that this is a very unique fighter that shows a whole different format that we never even really thought of, to be honest. I think as long as they execute the developments going forward correctly, I think it's going to be a great game that's going to see a lot of ports And who knows? Maybe we'll even get some tournaments in here because like this would be a great way to show like a team sport in the fighting game, like just in esports. It's not a MOBA. I think I think this could be absolutely esports or fighting games breaking into the team competitions.
Definitely. It looks fucking stunning. There is so much potential for this game. And you know what? While, like, tournament-wise, while we may not see it on a stage as big as EVO, it would be freaking awesome just to have, tournaments for it in general. Like, that would be amazing. Can you imagine how many people will eat that up? Like, dude, I would freaking pay to watch this tournament happen. If it's like something in person, I would pay money for that.
Oh yeah, totally. And I can definitely see the fans eating up we've seen a lot of like rivalries between two characters fight, two players fighting against each other in fighting games.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if you have duos that have rivalries against each other.
That just takes rivalries up to a whole new level, dude.
I know, aside from the actual gameplay of the tournament, all that juicy drama that the fans love to eat up too. That would be like doubled.
True, but note to everybody: play fighting games respectfully, please.
Exactly. Yes.
Be respectful.
Yes, we do not condone serious trash talk or slurs or anything like that on TNF. So please don't. Just don't. Don't.
Like, video games are meant to, they're meant for you to have fun. So just have fun. That's it.
and bring us together. That's the other important thing.
Exactly. So with that, that pretty much, I believe, that wraps up all the major news that we've got right now, I believe.
It does. Indeed it does. And also, a quick thank you to FightersGeneration.com for the news on 2B with Grand Blue Fantasy and Soul Calibur and the DNF Duel update. I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, thank you guys so much. We love it that you guys give us quick little updates on what's happening in the fighting game world in the AAA and somewhat in the indie scene. So thank you guys so much for those quick little articles. They really help us keep up to date on what's going on in the fighting game community.
Yep. Extra shout out to them too for doing the sneak peek on Akuma for Street Fighter 6. That was freaking amazing. And also want to thank Capcom and their Street Fighter social media handles for
and
also
Namco and just all the official sources that of the companies and studios who make these fighting games, who have released these news pieces that we have covered today, and we will of course be giving credit where credit is due as going forward. We do apologize in the past with our pilot season for not doing that. We will be correcting that, and we will be giving more credits at the end of segments like this.
Absolutely.
So thank you to everyone who has provided the information and put it out to the public for us to eat up and to speculate on.
There you go. So with that said, now we get into our discussion topic, and this is a very interesting one. I know I've said that in the past, but, so far, I think it's safe to say that every single one of our discussion topics has been very interesting and very insightful. So, for this episode, we're going to be talking about what if you could build up meter by blocking.
Yeah, so, well, I came up with this one because I thought, building up meter, basically you build up by giving and receiving damage.
There you go. Yeah.
And that mechanic, it doesn't really have a lot of risk and reward to it. So what if there was more of a risk and reward feature to that? Like, if you're attacking and your opponent blocks, do you want to risk them blocking and giving so they can get their meter up? And vice versa.
It's a very good point.
Yeah, what if more fighting games made it so that it actually, if it was actually a risk to build up? Like, I mean, we've already got something like that with games like half the games done by Arc System Works have like a charging mechanic, like especially with Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Oh yeah.
You can like pause and then charge up your character, but of course you're open to attacks then. But at the same time, you're building meter. So I'm just wondering, like, what other mechanics could we introduce that allow, say, if your opponent is like being aggressive, is there a way that could benefit you?
This is very true, and I mean, like, there's always two sides to these kinds of things. Like, yes, I think it would be a good idea because, you know, when people are in the mode, when they're in the zone, you know, it might slip their mind to try and block every once in a while. You know, they'll be too busy thinking about dealing as much damage as possible, whether that be through special moves, combo strings, whatever you can think of. But at the same time, it may not be as good of an idea because if you're trying to build up meter by blocking, like, they're going to realize that, you know, you're blocking a little too much, and they're going to try and find other ways to deal damage to you. So it's a double-edged sword in a way.
Yeah, like circumventing the blocks, I can understand why that why some people might see that as an issue, but I see it as a really big balancing because it makes the more expert players who know how to do combo strings really have to work to get into the range to take out possibly lower tier players.
Oh yes,
just who like, you know, they might depend more on those flashy finishers to actually be able to keep a dog in the fight, so to speak. So I think there is some merit to this idea. Of course, like, another alternative is, like, if you want to make it more skill based, it could be that say if you have something like Street Fighter 6's counter mechanic.
Yes.
What if whenever you countered, you built more meter faster?
You know what? I feel like that would be a really good alternative. Because, again, while blocking to build meter, you know, it's a unique idea, but the problem with that, mainly, is the fact that you want to make sure that your opponents can't read your strategy. You need to make sure that they can't read what you're going to do next, so that, you know, they can either beat you to the punch on that specific move, or find a way to punish. So, you know, I think that finding, you know, decent alternatives, such as what you suggested, I think would be great. Again, though, it's a double-edged sword, and building meter by blocking, it does have its benefits. It does, because, you know, yes, chip damage is a thing, but think about it like this. You know, if your opponent's looking for a full-on combo string that goes like maybe 10, 12 hits, at least that way, you're taking probably about half as much damage, if not less than half of that. So, while you're saving your own skin, you know, you're also building up meter to execute, you know, some pretty flashy moves.
Yeah. Alternatively, though, if we did something like it was more skill based, like the counter system. What you could do with the counter system to build meter is maybe, depending on like how good your counter was, determines like how much meter you gain. Like, say if you just get a counter that just blocks a little bit of damage, you know, it might give you a little bit of bar. But if you get like a perfect block, you get a crap ton of bar.
Interesting. So I guess maybe something like a level system, maybe.
Yeah, but also with a counter system, like, it's not like blocking where you can just spam the back button. You actually have to really time your hits, so it would be more of a like it wouldn't interrupt the flow of a match, basically.
And you know what? I really do like that. You know, I feel like if something like that had been implemented in various different fighting games, I feel like we would all be much better off. And you know what? Why not give people the option to enable that? You know, maybe it's not a mandatory thing. You know,
Make it an optional piece. Yeah, that could very well be like maybe that could be like a training mode or something.
yeah, something like that. I think that would be pretty good. So, you know, at least that way, you don't feel forced, you know, to block so much just to build up meter. Like, again, like I said earlier, when you're in the zone, sometimes people forget to block. So I feel
I
like
know I
that.
do. I know
So,
I do. Like you know me, I'm the rushdown king here, and
yes.
once I start going, I forget to block a lot.
There you go. And that's a key thing as to why I've managed to beat you on on numerous occasions is because you're in the zone and you just end up forgetting to block.
Hey, I'm getting
So,
better though. I'm
yes,
getting
you
better.
are getting
I
better.
am learning. I am learning.
Yes, you are. And you know what? It's not going to be too much longer before you become a pro at blocking. And you know what? Hey, a flawless block is much better than just a normal block. So imagine that integrating the level system into this. Imagine like
Yeah.
maybe getting imagine filling your meter up by like half a bar from a flawless block. Like I think that'd be pretty decent, right? Without, you
I
know, overdoing it.
yeah. Like I think it might if you're talking like a perfect block, like say, they just flick the back for a second just to block a single punch, and that's sort of perfect block. I think that is an interesting way to go about it. I think that might be a lot better than what I had, where like you could just build a set amount by just continuing to block.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face it too. Like, there's also the possibility that by blocking so much, it's possible that if you continue to do it for so long, you'll gradually generate less meter that way. So,
Could be,
you
could be.
know,
Although, I'm thinking now that the whole idea with the counter system might be a better way to go, because then yes, it's all it's skill based, but it's not going to be like spamming.
I agree with you there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
counter system, I think that would be probably the best way to go with that. Definitely.
yeah.
Perhaps maybe I might have a third option here.
Oh,
Oh,
what's
really,
that,
Pharaoh?
Pharaoh?
What?
Yeah. My suggestion is you take both of your systems are fantastic, but what if you combined them together and then added a third option? Let's just say you get a really big epic block on a really good move. Perhaps maybe just to rub a little salt in the wound of the player who got the move blocked. Perhaps maybe you should add meter theft.
Oh,
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
I did not see that coming. That sounds like a really interesting idea.
Stealing your opponent's meter. I don't think I ever would have thought of that.
I like the sound of that. That sounds freaking amazing.
See, Pharaoh, this is why we brought you onto the show, because like you give an outsider's perspective of things that we just would never think of. So thank you for that, man.
Appreciate it.
There you go. That's our wild card there, ladies and gentlemen. Pharaoh is our wild card.
Yeah. Alternatively, though, like stealing meter is also is definitely a thing you could do, but alternatively, you could also do like maybe whatever move you block, like the power of the move that you're blocking determines how much you gain. So there's also that.
Yep, that is very true. Absolutely. So,
But yeah, I love the idea of stealing meter. Like that's an interesting concept.
yeah, and I mean, like, I don't even really know if any game has, done that. I
I
can't.
don't think any game does. I think if anyone decides to bring this into a fighting game, like devs, if you're listening, see if this can work. But I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I love the sound of meter theft. That is crazy. That is
I mean,
amazing.
the only downside I really see with that is like doing mostly just a seesaw effect with the meters, and no one really gets off a super move. But alternatively, if you can do it right, so that like meter theft isn't an easy thing to do necessarily, it is definitely it does definitely seem to be a viable mechanic in my opinion.
For sure.
I'd
So,
say,
yeah.
oh, Sorry.
No,
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
all right. My
All
apologies.
right. Perhaps, I mean, like, if it's for not to be annoying, maybe you could have, like, a cap on how much you can steal per, like, attack.
Okay,
Like,
that's a good idea.
just sort of level the playing field out and not to bring everything into a standstill. As if it's like if it's going to go through a seesaw effect, that might be more effective on like higher tier fighters duking it out.
You know what?
Yeah.
We'll use Street Fighter 6. Like if you're in like the really really high up tiers of competitive, like Master Class or something like that. I think that's what the level is.
Oh yeah, if I remember correctly, that is the highest you can go in that game. Yeah, but like
Or make the effect stronger. The seesaw effect, make it stronger the higher you go. It's sort of to make it an anything could happen. Just sort of make it not too easy or not too difficult on players, especially. Maybe I'm just trying to think this. Maybe I'm not thinking this out right long enough.
Yeah, who knows? Like the more I think about this, the more complex this could get. So like devs, if you're listening, maybe, like experiment with it, try it out, and see if it works. Like, and just and if you're gonna try it out in your game, let us know because we would love to cover it and discuss how it could and could not work.
Yeah, and at the very least, like I mentioned before, like it doesn't have to be a mandatory thing. Maybe there's an option in the settings where you can toggle it on and off, so
yeah,
at least that way people don't have to feel like they're obligated or they're forced to do something like that, because everybody plays differently, right? And everyone approaches the risk versus reward concept differently. So at the very least, give them that option and pretty much just go from there.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've milked that topic for all we can this episode, boys. So
I think so.
Let's move on to our final section of the episode, which for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, we like to do a dream roster of basically seeing basically we're taking franchises that don't have a fighting game right now and giving our takes of what a fighting game from them might look like. We've done stuff like Resident Evil, Castlevania, Super Mario, and all that stuff in the past in our pilot season. So go check that out on YouTube when you get the chance to see what we've come up with in the past. But for our first episode of season 1, Wolf, you came out with a interesting one. You said Overwatch for your dream roster in this episode.
Yep, I came out swinging for the fences with this one. Now, Overwatch, like, the reason I chose this one is because, like, in a way, it does somewhat function like a fighting game. You've got your signature moves, you've got your big special moves, you've got your cooldown timers and everything, which in a way kind of acts like a meter. And on top of that, you've got iconic maps that would fit really well as stages. You've got a huge roster of characters. There's got to be probably maybe 40 characters maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
But there's a lot that can be done here. And as far as how the game would play, we know that Overwatch itself, it is very heavy when it comes to weapons, so possibly taking some inspiration from Soul Calibur because it's more of weapon-based combat, but maybe something like weapon-based combat like Soul Calibur, but more of like a 2D kind of thing, sort of like Street Fighter.
Or alternative, I guess, because you said the move lists for each character were kind of limited, so you could also maybe do a Smash Bros. Style like platform fighter with these guys.
This is very true, yeah, and in a way, it's sort of like that too, because you have your special moves. Your ultimate is essentially your final smash when we're talking Super Smash Bros. So yeah, I feel like either way could work. And it's just like, again, there's so much that the game has to offer that, you could go any which way that you want with this. So I think with all things considered, I feel like if Blizzard has the chance to do this sometime in the future, I definitely think that it would be a big hit, and hopefully you will have more happy fans as opposed to what we got right now with Overwatch 2, because not a lot of people are necessarily that happy at this point.
And who knows, maybe if they did that, they could also throw in like other Blizzard properties into the mix as guest characters. Like we got StarCraft, we got World of Warcraft.
Oh, so, yeah, I could definitely see that happening for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have in mind for that. For you, Shamaro, you said you were looking for something in the realm of Star Fox. Mind elaborating on that one for us?
Yeah, so like for those of you who haven't gone back yet and seen our Prowlhead season, last episode Wolf did his dream roster was Super Mario Bros. And like it wouldn't be like a Smash Bros thing; it would just be like just the Super Mario Bros property. And then that got me thinking, okay, what other Nintendo titles have enough characters in their roster to perhaps host a like their own unique fighting game? And I got to thinking, and I thought, Star Fox. Like, there was that one, like, Star Fox adventure game on, I think, the GameCube, back in the early 2000s, where Fox, like, you went to the R ring, like, momentarily, like, through, like, between levels, but usually it was, like, a ground-based 3D exploration game, platformer. And, we saw Fox, and we saw, like, that was our first introduction to Crystal, and we saw some cool moves with them and their combat styles. And then, of course, we have, like, Fox and Falco from Smash Bros. So I think there is definitely potential here because, like, not only Fox, Falco, and Crystal, but you've also got Slippy Toad and oh my gosh, who is Fox's mentor? The hair, Peppy.
There you go.
Yeah, so you got all Star Fox, then you also have Star Wolf as those characters. Then you also got the villains like that. Oh my gosh, I'm just blanking on the names here, guys. I'm sorry. What's the pig's what's the pig guy's name?
Oh crap, the pig guy. Shoot, his name is in there, but it doesn't want to come out.
Basically Andros' second-hand man and the guy who betrayed Fox's father.
Yeah, whatever his name is, he would be good.
Pigma, that's who it is.
Oh,
Pigma.
Oh,
there we go. Pigma. Oh my god, how did we not get that?
Yeah, so Pigma could be like a villain character. You got Andros' son, and then of course, like, you could have Andros himself, like, because like in the Star Fox games, he is basically just a big head with a bunch of flailing arms, like all Rayman style. So I'm thinking, like, if this was like, say, a 2D fighter, you could make Andros the final boss, kind of like how Galactus is in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yes.
He takes up half the stage and he blows off all those crazy attacks. So yeah, I think this could be a cool way to, like, one, breathe new life into Star Fox and let us see these characters more outside of their R-wings. And like expand more of the universe, because like you could have like some seriously good story modes for this, and then you could also like give the characters like a little more personality, because like, let's face it, Peppy's only real claim to fame is the dual barrel roll.
Yep.
So I think there's like, granted, like a lot of the Star Fox guys, like aside from Fox and Falco having their Smash Bros moves, the other Star Fox characters they do tend to have like just armed with blasters and all that, so you'd have to get a little inventive with how they're going to fill in different archetypes. But I think it is very much doable, and I think if Nintendo wanted to, they could definitely make and if they executed this correctly, looking at you, Star Fox Zero, I think it is definitely a big opportunity to breathe new life into Star Fox, and to bring us more into like what these characters are all about. Because let's face it, like in the old Star Fox games, all you really see is the R-Wings, and you see like these little message boards with like what the characters are saying over the intercoms. And sure, you might get some personality from the banter, but you don't get that much personality from their body language and all that stuff. So I think this would be a great way to breathe new life into the Star Fox franchise, and I am just hoping that Nintendo someday does that for them. Like, even if it's not a fighting game, at least it's at least do something.
Definitely. And I mean, it's been what, how many years now since Star Fox ended up getting a new original entry? So
it's been since the Wii U, my friend. So mid 2010s.
There you go. Even more reason for something like this to exist.
I mean, the only time we ever saw him, the only time we ever saw Fox afterwards was either in Smash Bros. Or as a guest character in that Starlinks game, which, let's face it, that didn't really do so well. So.
No, it didn't do well at all. But,
yeah, so I think doing a fighting game like this could definitely bring Star Fox back.
Absolutely, I could totally see that happening, and you know what? Again, people will probably eat that up, especially those who have been eagerly awaiting for a new entry into the Star Fox series. So, you know, like I just said, you know, all the more reason to do it.
Yeah. Like, granted, like, it might not be the rail gunner that we're used to, but at least it would be something. And it would be interesting. It would be a new take on the franchise.
For sure. And who knows what you could do afterwards. You know, this could spawn a whole new bunch of titles. Maybe, perhaps a spin-off series.
Could be. Like basically the Starfighters or Fox Fighters or something like that.
Yeah, it all sounds good to me, but you know, as the saying goes, only time will tell. So
indeed.
Yeah. So I think that is probably going to wrap up this episode.
Yep. So again, thank you to all the sources that we've quoted here today. Thank you so much for giving us the information that we need to make this podcast possible. Special thanks goes out to FightersGeneration.com for your quick little contributions with your articles to give us just the updates on what's going on in the fighting game world and for giving us something to talk about. And thank you again, of course, to all the official channels for all the game developers. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work and keep making these awesome games for us to enjoy.
Yes.
So with that, and as a quick reminder, remember, keep an eye out for us on YouTube later this month, and we will hopefully have. Again, our schedules aren't solid yet, so we might be doing this every 2 weeks as we did before in our pilot season, or we might be able to do it every week. We'll see. We'll just see what happens, guys, because it's really undetermined right now. We're still finding our footing, and we appreciate any the patience you have as you follow us.
Absolutely.
And as always. And as always, please, if you haven't already, please follow us on social media. We are on Twitter and Instagram. We are at K9C official or K9C Media. So definitely check us out and follow us, and you'll get the latest updates from us, and you'll get to see the announcements of when new content is coming out.
Yep, and just a quick note about this particular episode. As I said, as we're recording right now, it is January 7th. This episode is going to be uploaded either on the 8th or the 9th. At the very latest would be the 10th, but I don't think it's going to get to that point. It'll probably be either the 8th or the 9th. So just want to put that out there so that nobody gets confused, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like we do need to record these ahead of time, and then Wolf needs to do the sound editing, and then I need to review the entire thing, and then I need to upload this stuff. So it there's a process that we're still streamlining. So definitely expect this to be a few days old when you're listening to this. Again, we apologize. We will try to get our process streamlined in the future so you guys get more fresher news. But for the time being, thank you guys for listening in.
Yep. Unfortunately, Pharaoh is not here to say his farewells, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed his contributions this episode. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him in for some more episodes as the series goes on. And with that, on behalf of Pharaoh, I'm Wolfpack.
I'm Shamaro.
We are K9 Calamity. Hope you all stay safe, stay warm out there. And last but certainly not least, fight on. We will see all you guys next time. Have a good one, everybody.